So today I'm going to show you my way of cleaning out the standard Ego thread tank. It's this guy right here. It doesn't have a brand name on it, but I have been to several different vape shops and smoke shops and whatnot, and this seems to be, if it's not this exact one, it seems to be very close to the standard. So I'm going to show you how I clean these out and how to take them apart and whatnot. So if you ever have to change the wick or the atomizer, as it's also called, it's very simple. It's just as simple as unscrewing the bottom part right here, and the whole thing comes out like this. And then if you see this little part right here, it also twists off. So this is actually the part right here that actually creates the vapor, and it works for gravity. And if you see really close there in the center, on the sides, right here, there's little bits of silica cotton, and that works just to draw the liquid up into where it actually creates the vapor, which is this cylinder right up in here, but it's down at the bottom. Alright, so there's that part right there. And then there's one other thing that you got to look out for. There's a couple of washers, I guess they're called. There's one right, you can see them both right here. There's one right on this side, and there's one a little bit further in. And you can also see that there's little tiny holes, yeah, right about there, and there's another one right about there, right? So there's two different, those are your where the air pulls through. So then you have your tank, right, and this is all just one piece. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how I like to take it apart and clean it. So what I always end up doing is I like taking the paper towels, or a vapor towel as I've recently come to call it, and I make, I guess I'll call them little darts out of them, because, so I take the, this happens to be Bounty Selector size, and first I split it because it was dual layer, and then I ripped it in half, and then what I'm going to do is fold it into a triangle, and yet again rip it in half. Now, of course, there's a million different ways to do it. This is just the way I prefer to do it. I find that I get the most bang out of each paper towel or vapor towel if I do it this way. So now I'm going to take my little triangle, and I'm just going to start to twist from one of the ends. And I'm going to twist, 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 twist as hard as I can, make it a nice little point there at the end, because it's got to reach all the way down into the bottom of the tank to pull out all the old e-liquid, so that we can change a flavor and we're not going to have any leftover flavors in there. And if you were pulling on a very old tank, you're going to have some discolored e-liquid, and that's not very appetizing. So there's the first one. Going to do the same thing with the other one. I'm going to make 4 because that's what I get out of one sheet of vapor towel. So again, I'm just going to twist it down. Twist, 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 all the way to the bottom. A lot of pressure, so it's as straight and as thin as possible, because it's got a lot of grooves in the tank that it's got to get up and around. So there's another one. So for now, I'm just going to make these 2 because I got a couple made from before when I was cleaning out other vape stuff. So here's my tank. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty out the rest of my e-liquid that's stuck inside. Just going to pour that right out. Don't worry, I didn't pour it all over the table. I got paper towels down there at the bottom to clean that up. Alright? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my darts, as I so called it before, and if you see on the inside of the tank, it's going to kind of work around the hole in the side, and past the hole in the center, and I'm just going to keep twisting it the same direction as I twisted it before, all the way down to the bottom, and it's kind of clear all the way down at the bottom, and if you can see it, I'm like, yep, you can see it kind of poking through right there at the bottom. So I'm going to take this guy and just keep twisting it and poking it around, just to brush off all the sides and down at the bottom. I'm just going to keep twisting, and then eventually we're going to pull it right back out. And as you can see, it's got plenty of e-juice still stuck on it. So now I'm going to take the other one that I had made and do the exact same thing all the way down to the bottom. Just going to keep twisting it out, and then let it sit there for a couple of seconds so it'll absorb up the paper towel and work as a wick, as if you were using a top coil. So again, as you see, down at the bottom. So something else that I like to do if it's not fully used and it doesn't get all the way down is I just like to go up to the top where the juice has stopped seeping up and just pull it off. And now I got another tool that I can continue and use it the exact same way. So I'm going to feed it down into the side, just twisting the whole way, feed it down slowly, and just keep twisting that so it pulls all the e-liquid down and around, and this way we don't have anything left in our tank. Holding it upside down helps too. This way the gravity works and it pulls all the e-liquid down to the bottom and you're not left with old flavors. That's a pet peeve of mine. I like to try different flavors. Don't get me wrong, I mix them as well, but if I'm not choosing to mix it, I don't want chocolate peanut butter mixed in with my gummy bears flavor because that's just not very appetizing. So, again, and like I said before, I had made a couple of these before, and I'm going to continue to use those to finish the job. Normally I use about four of them, and then I'll have an extra paper towel to clean up any mess that I might have made down at the bottom. So what I'm just going to do is, if you notice down at the bottom, or at the top, but when it's upside down, it's down at the bottom, right about here, you can't see any of the e-liquid down there pooling at the bottom. So one last step that you want to do is you want to take another one of the darts that I had made, or if you made, or however you want to do it. This is just the easiest way to me. Q-tips don't seem to work. Toothpicks don't really seem to work with like a paper attached to it. But I just insert the dart straight through the tank. It'll come out the mouthpiece and down the bottom. And if it's thin enough, it'll fit right through, and being thicker at the back. So as you pull it through, you won't have anything to worry about. Just don't force it, because the worst thing you want to do is have a piece of paper towel stuck in your tank, which you could always just remove, again, with a toothpick or a Q-tip, but the Q-tip won't get down deep inside here. As you see, it's very thin, and you got to make these little paper towel darts, as I happen to call them. So we're going to feed this all the way through. Again, my goal is to pull it straight through the other side. I just had to find a thinner, tighter wrapped dart that I had made. And if this one doesn't go all the way through, then we'll be alright. I'm just going to fish it down through the bottom. The other way, make sure everything's all cleaned out, all the flavor is removed. And that's pretty much it. That's how I clean out my tanks. Get a fresh one here. Put it through the bottom, and it'll come out the other side. Also, something that you do, if you want, is you just come down here and you rip off part of the bottom once it's poking through at the other side. So this way you have less resistance, and you can just pull it through if you want to. But I choose not to. So that's the tank. That's the main part that you're going to clean out. I'll put that aside for now. Now this other ring is the part that attaches directly to the battery. So you can use this the same way, just a crumpled up piece of paper towel if you want, just kind of in the bottom. The threads kind of start to get gunky, they kind of start to turn black, and you just want to clean that out of there. As you see on the tip of the paper towel, it's kind of black, not very nice to see. So now I'm going to take another paper towel and clean out the outside around the washers. Just be careful that they stay in the spot they're supposed to, and if you dry them out too much, it's not going to seal as much. I haven't really had a problem with that, but it's not necessarily a problem. So there's that. And then, of course, if you're changing your wick, you would just reinstall a new one. If you have one that's not so old, you just change in flavors. I just like to very gently kind of wrap it in the paper towel, get some of the old juice off. If also another thing I like to do is take another one of the darts, and because it's nice and thin down at the point, I just kind of stick it down there right in through and pull out what's left in the little atomizer, or wick as I like to call them. And it pulls out the little juice that's left there at the bottom. And then it's just as simple as reinstalling a new one. You're going to take your bottom part that screws to the battery, screw the new wick right there on top, and then fill it like you did originally the first time, and screw it right back on, and you're good to go. And that was how I like to clean out my Ego-style tanks. Vape on.